Hello, welcome to Motivation online classes. So today we are going to start the new sessions for the science, mathematics and also for social science. So first of all, we are just starting with this science. So this is the first chapter of the science, class 10 NCERT. So the name of the chapter is Chemical Reactions and Equations. So before starting this chapter, I just want to say that some of the things, basic things in order to understand this chapter. So there are two types of changes in our physical environment or in our environment. That is the physical change and the chemical changes. So physical changes will be like when the ice melts, it turns into liquid, water, and again when it is heated, it turns into vapor, that is gaseous form. So we say that changes as a physical change because the chemical compositions of that water is always hydrogen and oxygen, that's H2O, and they are also combined in some fixed ratio. So but here the chapter, as its title says, that chemical reactions and equation. So what it means, that what is a chemical reactions? So in order to understand what is a chemical reactions, what we have to know is that how to check whether that is a chemical reactions or a physical change. So there are some criteria in order to check whether that is a chemical reactions or not. So that is determination of a chemical reactions. So the first thing that you have to find it out in order to check whether it is a chemical reactions or not, that is, first one is the change in color. So after the reactions, whether there is a change in color. The second one is that after the reactions, whether there is change in state. After the reactions of the two reactant, whether there is a change in state. The third thing is that evolution of gases. Evolution of gases. After reacting the two chemical, whether there is evolution of gases or either the gases is coming out of that reaction. So we have to check it out. And the fourth thing is that change in temperature. Whether after the reactions there is any change in the temperature, whether the temperature is rising up or it is decreasing. So we have to check that one. So in all the cases, if there is a change of color or there is a change of state or there is evolution of gases or change in temperature, then we can say that there is some type of chemical reactions which is going on. So these are the factors by which we will know that a chemical reactions is proceeding or chemical reactions is taking place. So before going to the types of the chemical reactions, let's understand the chemical reactions properly. So what's chemical reactions? So the simple example is that when you burn any carbon, so like carbon are found in some in the nature in the form like a firewood. In our body also there is maximum carbon which is in the form of carbohydrates. So let's take an example of a firewood. When the firewood is burned, it means there is an element inside the firewood, that is carbon. When it is burned in presence of oxygen, it will form carbon dioxide. But here the two reactants are the carbon which is burning in presence of another reactant, that is oxygen, and it gives the final product, that is the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So this is the chemical changes, and you see that the state, or there is a change in the state, there is a evolution of gases also will be there will be rise in temperature. So it fulfills some of the criteria which determine whether this is a chemical reactions or not. So we can say that this is a chemical reactions. And always remember, on the chemical reactions, on the left hand side, whenever you write a chemical equations, on the left hand side there will always be reactant, and on the right hand side there will always be product. So this is the proper understanding of a chemical reactions and equations. So we can say this one as a chemical equations. But further going to the chemical equations, first of all we will try to complete the theoretical part. So let's now study about the types of the chemical reactions. So what's chemical reactions? So chemical reactions are those reactions in which there will be reactant, and after the reactions of the two reactant or breaking down of the reactant, it will form the product. So the first type of the chemical reactions is the combination reactions. So what is combination reactions? As the word says, combination. You know that combination means combining two or three or more substances into one product. So that is known as combination reactions. So here also the definition of the combination reactions is a chemical reaction in which a single product is formed from two or more reactant is called combination reactions. So now we can say that this is a combination reactions. How? Because there is two reactant and these two reactant combined form a single product. So this is a combination reactions. So next we have another type of reactions, that is the decomposition reactions. So this is the part 2. So we are going through the types of the chemical reactions. So we have different types of chemical reactions. So last class we have studied about the combination reactions. A combination reactions is a reactions in which a single product is formed from two or more reactants. So that's the combination reactions. So now combination reactions is also known as exothermic reactions. Why exothermic reactions? Because an exothermic reactions is a chemical reactions in which heat is evolved along with the formation of product. Heat is evolved. It means that whenever these reactions take place, some amount of heat is given out. So the best example is that calcium oxide, when added in water, it forms calcium hydroxide. So what is this? This is the lime. The lime which we get on the market. So when it is added to water, what will happen? It will evolve some of the gases and it will give out excess, or it will release excess heat. So whenever you touch the container in which these two reactions are taking place, you can feel the heat, and a substance will be formed and a compound will be formed, that is calcium hydroxide, and this is known as slake lime. So the second type of reactions, so as you know that combination is known as the exothermic reactions. Same way, this is the second type of the chemical reactions, so that is the decomposition reactions. So what's decomposition reactions? A chemical, as you can see from the name itself, decompose. Decompose means to break down some substances into smaller particles. So same is the thing. Decomposition reactions is a chemical reactions in which a single reactant breaks down to give two or more simpler product. It means that a chemical reactions in which a single reactant will break down into two or more products. So that's decomposition reactions. So the example will be calcium carbonate, which is known as limestone. So limestone, when it is converted into lime, what will happen? That limestone will be brought and it will be heated in a furnace, and that will break down the single limestone, or a compound will be broken down into calcium oxide, which is a lime, and the carbon dioxide gas will be evolved out. So two products are formed from a single reactant. So that's the reason it is known as decomposition reactions. And another thing here, in order to proceed these decomposition reactions, what happened here? A type of reactions happens here, and that is known as endothermic reactions. And what's endothermic reactions? A chemical reaction in which heat is absorbed along with the formation of the product. So look here, without the heat these reactions will not proceed. So that's the reason here the heat is taken by the calcium carbonate or the limestone in order to break down and form lime and carbon dioxide. So we can say that decomposition reactions is also called endothermic reactions, because in these decomposition reactions we need heat. That's the reason it absorbs heat. But in combination reactions, what will happen? It will give out the heat. So that's the reason it is known as exothermic reactions. So this is it. Thank you.